Stand up right now if you're physically able to do so. Go ahead, I'll wait patiently while you get to your feet. Once you're standing, take just a moment to really tune in to how your body and mind are feeling in this exact instant. Do you notice any subtle stiffness beginning to settle into your joints or slowly working its way into your lower back? Perhaps a deep, heavy sense of fatigue weighing you down, or maybe that familiar mental fog quietly clouding your thoughts and making everything feel a little less sharp. Here's an essential truth that far too many older adults tend to overlook, minimize, or simply accept without question. The mild cognitive slowing you may be noticing right now, those annoying little memory lapses, the struggle to find the right word, or that overall feeling of mental dullness, might not actually be an inevitable or truly normal part of aging, even though so many people have quietly come to regard it as something unavoidable and permanent. Let me share the surprising and often ignored reality. Those persistent sleep difficulties you may be dealing with are quietly and steadily eroding the long-term health and sharpness of your brain. The damage occurs silently. No sudden sharp pain, no loud warning signs, and typically without you even noticing the gradual harm that's building up over time. What if I told you directly that the single biggest hidden factor quietly undermining brain health in so many older adults isn't excessive sugar intake, isn't just years of accumulated stress, and isn't primarily genetics, but rather something far more common, everyday, and entirely within your power to improve: your sleep habits, routines, and daily patterns? I'm doctor, and for more than 20 years, I've dedicated my career and clinical research to understanding the profound and powerful connections between sleep and long-lasting brain health, especially as we grow older. In my practice, the same troubling pattern appears with disheartening regularity. Older adults arrive feeling worried, often genuinely frightened, firmly convinced that their increasing memory slips, rising irritability, or short temper, or moments of confusion are simply unavoidable signs of aging that everyone must eventually accept. Yet in a surprisingly high number of these cases, when we examine the full picture carefully, the true underlying cause turns out to be something much more fixable, treatable, and manageable: the quality of their sleep, or more precisely, how consistently they have been falling short of reliable, high-quality, deeply restorative sleep night after night. Much of the sleep advice people have followed for years, and much of what still appears in standard recommendations today, remains unfortunately incomplete. It overlooks several of the most critical and influential factors that truly determine sleep quality. Real sleep quality is not primarily or solely about the total number of hours you spend lying in bed. In reality, sleep represents the single most essential, non-negotiable daily period when your brain carries out vital, behind-the-scenes maintenance and renewal work. It actively clears out harmful metabolic waste products and toxic proteins, such as the well-known beta-amyloid linked to cognitive decline, that build up while you're awake. It firmly consolidates and strengthens the new memories and skills you acquired during the day. It performs careful repairs on fatigued or damaged neural connections, and it resets your emotional centers to restore balance, calm, and emotional resilience for the day ahead. When sleep becomes repeatedly interrupted, fragmented, shallow, or lacking true depth, even if the total time spent in bed appears adequate, the brain is almost always the first organ to display the resulting damage, decline, and diminished performance. From a solid clinical and neuroscientific perspective, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, SCN, your brain's master circadian clock, located in the hypothalamus, depends heavily on consistent, reliable timing cues from your daily habits and environment to remain properly aligned and perform at its peak. When bedtime fluctuates too much or lacks regularity, even by as little as an hour or two from night to night, the amount and quality of deep NREM sleep, vital for robust long-term memory consolidation and synaptic pruning, noticeably decreases, weakens, and becomes disrupted. A comprehensive long-term study carried out at the University of Colorado Boulder tracked 300 adults over 8 years. The findings revealed that people with irregular or highly variable sleep schedules experienced a striking 30% faster decline, specifically in episodic memory, the kind involved in recalling personal events and experiences. And this accelerated decline occurred even when their average sleep duration stayed roughly the same. Another common habit among many seniors is remaining awake in bed for prolonged periods, anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour or longer, night after night, while reassuring themselves that it's not a big deal, or it only happens occasionally. But this particular habit is especially harmful, insidious, and self-perpetuating. Your brain is an extraordinarily efficient, lifelong learning machine that continually forms strong associations between places, actions, and mental states. When you repeatedly lie in bed feeling restless, worried, or unable to sleep for weeks or months on end, your brain gradually begins to associate your bed with wakefulness, alertness, rumination, concern, or mild stress, instead of the calm, deep, restorative sleep it is meant to symbolize. Over time, this conditioned negative link results in lighter overall sleep architecture, significantly more frequent brief awakenings and fragmentation throughout the night, and a substantial reduction in slow-wave deep restorative sleep. Consider a straightforward everyday analogy. It's similar to repeatedly attempting to park your car but leaving the engine running idly in the middle of a noisy, chaotic city intersection, instead of carefully pulling it into a quiet, sheltered garage. Your bed should function as a peaceful, secure, predictable sanctuary, a genuine garage, where your mind and body can completely unwind and recharge. Yet, by staying awake and mentally active in it night after night, you unintentionally transform that tranquil space into something disordered and overstimulating, much like rush hour traffic filled with constant noise and movement. Research conducted at Johns Hopkins University, which followed 250 adults aged 65 and older over an extended period, discovered that those who regularly spent prolonged time awake in bed had, on average, 42% more disruptive awakenings during the night, and noticeably elevated levels of morning anxiety and tension. The gradual but genuine accumulation of effects includes progressively worsening daytime brain fog, persistent irritability or quick temper, diminished emotional recovery, and even the onset or intensification of anxiety, even among individuals who had not experienced much of it previously. Picture your brain as a large absorbent sponge throughout the waking hours. It requires sufficient wakefulness pressure built up from extended active periods to be fully wrung out, cleansed, and refreshed during sleep. When you shorten that daytime buildup by heading to bed far too early, the nighttime processes of detoxification, repair, and memory reinforcement cannot occur as completely or effectively. Detailed polysomnography studies from the University of Michigan demonstrated that seniors with extremely early bedtimes, often 8 p.m. or earlier, exhibited REM sleep cycles that were approximately 20% shorter on average, even when they remained in bed for 9 to 10 hours in an attempt to rest. This mismatch in timing frequently resembles, and is mistakenly attributed to, the initial signs of cognitive decline or mild cognitive impairment. The encouraging news is that, in the majority of instances, this issue is largely reversible through steady, intentional adjustments to bedtime habits. Furthermore, controlled research from Stanford University indicated that even moderate ambient light exposure at night among adults aged 65 and older could suppress melatonin production by as much as 50%. This suppression resulted in lighter and less efficient sleep stages, reduced memory formation and retention the following day, and modest but detectable declines in executive function. Far too many seniors underestimate the long-term damage caused by this one subtle environmental factor, primarily because the brain provides no dramatic or painful warnings when melatonin remains consistently suppressed. The cognitive and emotional impacts accumulate slowly and quietly across months and years, making the connection to poor sleep habits difficult to recognize in the moment. Let me share the example of Harold, a 68-year-old gentleman who progressively shifted his bedtime earlier and earlier, eventually settling on 7 p.m., believing that more horizontal time would deliver better rest, faster recovery, and increased daytime energy. Instead, the opposite occurred. He would wake up fully alert at 3 a.m. every single night, unable to return to sleep, lying there staring at the ceiling in frustration for hours on end. Subsequent neuropsychological testing revealed mild but evident declines in short-term recall and working memory. He had also relied on low-dose sleep medication nightly for years, although its effectiveness had faded considerably. Together, we established a strict, non-negotiable morning wake-up time, regardless of how little sleep he had gotten, significantly reduced nighttime light exposure, particularly from screens and hallway lights, and gradually delayed bedtime by 15 minutes every few nights. Harold's deep sleep percentage increased by an impressive 35%, according to his sleep tracker. Within just 8 weeks of consistent adherence, his word recall and list learning scores rose from 1520 to 1920. The heavy morning brain fog that had troubled him for years disappeared entirely, and his daytime mood shifted to calm, patient, and positive. The REST protocol successfully rebooted his brain's natural repair and regulatory mechanisms. At the core of the REST protocol lies rhythm, setting and maintaining a fixed wake-up time every single day. Commit firmly to rising and getting out of bed at precisely the same time each morning, no matter how poorly or briefly you may have slept the previous night. Next is stimulus control, a well-established behavioral sleep technique. If you find yourself lying awake in bed for more than 20-30 minutes, at any point during the night, and sleep refuses to come despite your efforts to relax, get up quietly, keep the lights extremely low, using a small red or amber light for safety if necessary, and engage in something truly dull and non-stimulating, such as reading uninteresting pages from a boring book, listening to calm, non-narrative sounds, gentle nature recordings or soft instrumental music, or simply sitting quietly in another room. The goal is to retrain your brain to associate your bed and bedroom strongly with rest, relaxation, drowsiness, and deep sleep, rather than with wakefulness, overthinking, or anxiety. Studies from Johns Hopkins demonstrated that this approach reduces average nighttime awakenings by about 42% in seniors within 6 weeks of consistent application. Then comes timing, the third pillar. Aim for a bedtime window generally between 9:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. for most older adults, with slight adjustments based on your natural chronotype or daily routine, but this range is supported by solid evidence. If your current bedtime is significantly earlier, such as 7:30 or 8 p.m., move it later gradually, in 15-minute increments every few nights, until you achieve better biological alignment. Finally, intentionally minimize nighttime light exposure and discuss any existing sleep medications thoroughly with your doctor. After sunset, use only dim, warm, amber, or red lighting at home and avoid blue light emitting screens, phones, tablets, TVs, and so on, for at least 1 hour before bed, ideally 90 minutes to 2 hours. Protecting your natural melatonin production is crucial for achieving deeper, more restorative sleep and for supporting overnight brain detoxification, memory consolidation, synaptic balance, and emotional reset. Even modest, consistent improvements in light management and screen habits frequently produce surprisingly substantial and enduring benefits in daily brain performance and overall well-being. To be completely clear and responsible, the REST protocol provides safe, evidence-based lifestyle and behavioral strategies designed to enhance natural sleep quality and promote brain health. It is not a medical cure, treatment, reversal, or preventive measure for diagnosed conditions such as dementia, Alzheimer's disease, vascular cognitive impairment, Lewy body disease, frontotemporal dementia, or other serious progressive neurological disorders. Never discontinue, alter, or adjust any prescribed medications, including sleep aids, antidepressants, blood pressure medications, cognitive enhancers, etc., without full consultation and approval from your physician or neurologist. If you have untreated obstructive sleep apnea, serious cardiac conditions, such as congestive heart failure, recent heart attack or arrhythmias, severe untreated depression, bipolar disorder, restless leg syndrome, chronic pain that disrupts sleep, or other significant medical or psychiatric conditions, please consult your doctor, a sleep specialist, or the appropriate expert before implementing major changes to your sleep routine. The wisest approach is gradual. Begin with a fixed wake-up time, slowly shift bedtime, and then incorporate stimulus control and light management once the foundation feels stable. Gradual adjustments allow your body and brain to adapt comfortably and sustainably, far better than sudden, drastic changes. These steps carry low risk, are generally safe for most older adults when implemented thoughtfully, and are supported by robust, peer-reviewed evidence demonstrating meaningful improvements in sleep quality, cognitive function, and brain health during aging. My personal challenge to you today is straightforward. Select just one element of the REST protocol, perhaps committing to a fixed wake-up time, including weekends, gradually shifting bedtime closer to 9:30–10:30 p.m., reducing evening light exposure, or using stimulus control when you lie awake too long in bed, and follow it diligently for the next 30 days without exception. Each day, jot down a brief note about how your mental clarity, mood stability, and memory reliability feel in comparison to before. After those 30 days, return here and share openly in the comments what worked well, what proved challenging, and any changes, large or small, you noticed in brain function, energy levels, mood, or sharpness. Your authentic experiences have the power to inspire, encourage, and foster hope and connection for others facing similar struggles, while reinforcing your own commitment. Your brain has faithfully carried you through decades of life's ups and downs, joys, difficulties, accomplishments, disappointments, quiet victories, everything. It has served as your companion, problem solver, memory keeper, and emotional anchor. It deserves far more than to be dismissed as just old age, when much of the decline may actually stem from correctable sleep issues rather than irreversible aging processes. The empowering truth is that you can take practical, science-backed steps right now to achieve sharper memory, improved focus, greater emotional stability, and renewed mental energy, all through careful, consistent enhancements to your sleep habits. The overlooked reality persists: poor, inconsistent, low-quality sleep, not merely sugar consumption, not chronic stress and isolation, not primarily genetic predisposition, is quietly accelerating brain function decline every single day, often without pain or obvious signals. Across more than 20 years in senior brain health and sleep research and clinical practice, I have witnessed this preventable pattern repeat in hundreds upon hundreds of patients. Memory difficulties, irritability, confusion, word-finding challenges, daytime fatigue, and diminished resilience frequently arise from chronic sleep disruptions and suboptimal sleep patterns rather than from aging alone. Sleep functions as active nightly brain maintenance, clearing toxins, storing memories, repairing connections, and resetting emotions. When quality declines, the brain bears the brunt first and most profoundly. The truth that so many continue to overlook, undervalue, or fail to recognize is this: poor, disrupted, inconsistent, or low-quality sleep habits, not excessive sugar over the years, not chronic stress by itself, not mainly genetic factors, are quietly and steadily damaging and hastening brain function decline every day, often without pain, without dramatic alerts, and without the connection becoming immediately apparent. After more than 2 decades dedicated to senior brain health and sleep science in both research and clinical settings, I have observed this same avoidable pattern countless times in hundreds of patients. Memory lapses, heightened irritability or emotional reactivity, increasing confusion or word-finding struggles, persistent daytime fatigue, and reduced mental resilience very commonly result from chronic sleep disruptions and less than optimal sleep architecture rather than unavoidable aging alone. Sleep is far more than passive rest. It's the critical, active nightly window during which your brain manages essential housekeeping, clearing accumulated toxic metabolic waste, consolidating and reinforcing new memories for long-term retention, performing microscopic repairs to damaged or weakened neural pathways, and resetting your emotional equilibrium and limbic system for improved stability and adaptability moving forward. When sleep quality repeatedly diminishes, fragments, or becomes shallower, your brain inevitably suffers the heaviest consequences first and most severely, often long before other organs display clear signs. Thank you sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, for taking the time to watch, listen, or read all the way through this message. It means a great deal that you invested this time in learning about something so vital to your long-term well-being. Feel entirely free and encouraged to share your current age in the comments. It helps foster community understanding. Or simply write the word foggy if that captures how your thinking or energy has felt recently. Or type, "I'm in," if you're ready and motivated to begin at least one small, practical rest change tonight or tomorrow. Enhancing and safeguarding your sleep is one of the kindest, most powerful, accessible, and meaningful actions you can take for your mind's long-term health, sharpness, and vitality. I truly appreciate you being here with me today, and I look forward to hearing from you soon, whether through a brain-restored note, your 30-day update, or a short comment on how this resonated with you. Take wonderful care of yourself and your sleep. Until next time. One final gentle reminder as we conclude. The rest protocol changes are deliberately approachable, sustainable, and forgiving. You don't need to overhaul your entire life in one go. Attempting to implement everything simultaneously often leads to feeling overwhelmed and rapid burnout. That's precisely why the protocol stresses beginning with just one pillar, rhythm as the strongest and most foundational element, since a consistent wake-up time establishes a reliable anchor around which everything else can build. Once that anchor is firmly in place, the remaining adjustments, bedtime timing, stimulus control, light management, become considerably easier and more effective. Many individuals starting this process report that the first week or two feels somewhat strange, perhaps waking at the new fixed time feeling groggy after limited sleep, or resisting the strong urge to nap, an impulse best gently avoided when possible to maintain nighttime sleep drive. These temporary discomforts are normal indicators that your internal clock and sleep pressure systems are recalibrating. They nearly always subside within 7 to 14 days as consistency strengthens and your circadian rhythm solidifies. If you encounter persistent difficulties, such as extreme daytime sleepiness after weeks of effort, or reports from a partner of loud snoring, gasping, frequent leg movements that wake you, or other signs suggesting a possible underlying sleep disorder, please don't delay seeking professional assistance. A sleep study, polysomnography, or consultation with a board-certified sleep medicine specialist can identify treatable conditions like sleep apnea, periodic limb movement disorder, or others that behavioral adjustments alone may not completely address. Resolving those fundamental issues first often accelerates and enhances the effectiveness of the rest protocol. For the majority of cases where accumulated poor sleep habits, rather than a major undiagnosed medical sleep disorder, represent the primary problem, the strength of this approach lies in its simplicity and sense of empowerment. No expensive gadgets, unusual supplements, or complex routines are required. What truly counts is consistency, patience, and assigning sleep the same level of priority you give to nutrition, physical activity, and meaningful relationships. Sleep is not a luxury or optional extra. It serves as the foundation that enables every other aspect of life to function at its best. As you progress with your selected single change over the next 30 days, approach it with curiosity rather than perfectionism. Pay attention to what occurs when you adhere to your wake-up time, even following a difficult night. Notice how energy, mood, and mental clarity shift, even subtly, when you reduce evening screens and bright lights. Observe whether getting out of bed after 20-30 minutes awake reduces the time needed to fall back asleep upon returning. These small personal insights are tremendously powerful. They transform abstract scientific principles into tangible, lived evidence that your efforts are producing real change. When those 30 days conclude, I sincerely hope you'll return and share your experience. It can be brief and simple. Something like, age 72, began with a fixed 7 a.m. wake-up, fog lifting gradually each week. I'm in. Or, foggy perfectly described me. After 30 days without phone past 9 p.m., mornings feel noticeably clearer. Or, challenging at first, wanted to remain in bed at 4 a.m., but stimulus control made a difference. Memory already sharper. Your voice truly matters. Every honest contribution supports someone else who is reading now, feeling discouraged and questioning whether change is realistic at their age. It demonstrates that they are not alone, that modest, consistent efforts can yield genuine progress. and that it is never too late to provide your brain with the nightly support it has quietly required. In closing, here is my final thought. Aging itself is not the enemy of a sharp, vibrant mind. Neglecting the brain's most crucial nightly recovery process is. By choosing, even in one small way, to prioritize improved sleep structure, you are investing in enduring mental clarity, emotional balance, and resilience that enhance every area of your life. You have already completed the most difficult step by reading to the end and opening yourself to the possibility that just getting older may not tell the entire story. Now, the next modest step belongs to you. Choose your one rest element tonight. Commit to beginning tomorrow morning. Track it gently for 30 days. Then come back and let us know how it went. Your clearer-minded future self awaits on the other side of that consistency. Thank you once again for your time, your attention, and your willingness to consider a fresh perspective on brain health. Sleep well, live sharply, and I look forward to hearing from you. Until next time, take good care.